Every morning I wake up, it's a blessing to open my eyes in Houston, Texas. Yeah, zero.
It's H-Town for real. And you know we keep it real. Get that money. It's H-Town for real.
What's up, guys? This is DJ K Sly, live from Los Angeles. And we're in the 66 Raw Studios, the brand new studios, and I am sitting with entrepreneur, hip-hop mogul. Now, let's talk about your book, The Art and Science of Respect.
Yeah.
Right here.
The Art and Science of Respect.
I know that you said that your spirit moved you to write this,
yeah.
And you're a very private person, but what also encouraged you more? Because, you know, your spirit can move you, but
right.
Who pushed you to actually do it?
Well, you know, I believe that readers are leaders, and I wanted to lead by example by sharing, you know, my story, you know, my blueprint, my formula to success and to life. You know, I even share my spirituality, you know, my belief system.
What is your spirituality?
Well, it's a lot of different things, but I do believe in God. You know, that's the most important. I don't get caught up in the religion. You know, there's so many of them. But, you know, I definitely believe in God, and everything I accomplished in life, I prayed for, and it's been beautiful.
Are you okay to talk about your mother? She just passed.
Yeah.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Right.
And, I mean, did she instill your first form of respect? Like, where did you get your building blocks of respect? Was it at the home? Was it through an OG, a teacher?
Right. Definitely everything began with my mother. My whole inspiration for wanting to be successful, my foundation of, you know, respecting people, my spirituality, you know, she had something to do with all of that. She gave me a good foundation to build off of.
I heard the voicemail.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a good. Sound like you were a good son.
I tried to be. You know, my whole movement and inspiration came from my mother. You know, I wanted to break the curse of poverty, you know, for my mom. You know, she meant everything to me, and you know, that's where my drive came from.
But when I read that you broke the curse of poverty, but now that you have your family, do you feel that, like, for example, a teacher told me everyone gets an A. You start off with an A, but you didn't get to start off with the A. You know, you went from the bottom to the top. So do you feel it's just as hard to start off with an A and keep that A? Yeah,
well, you know, I tell everybody, it's one thing getting the riches, getting the success. It's a whole nother challenge to keep it. So, you know, both of them is equally, you know, as important, but, you know, you're absolutely right. I started with nothing. You know, I say nothing material-wise, but I had everything with the love, you know, that came from my family.
But do you also feel like with respect, does it only come with money? Because a lot of people confuse respect with money. I don't feel that from you, but I was talking to a couple of my friends, and we were saying, do you respect, you know, do certain people respect broke people? You know, like sometimes this society looks down on people who don't have as much, and they feel like, oh, you're just lazy, or you just didn't do enough.
Right.
That's not the case.
Yeah, no, that's not the case. It's a whole lot of people with a whole bunch of money that don't have no respect. You know what I mean? Because it's something you can't really buy. You know, it's something that, you know, I gave, and then I earned, and then I demanded it. But it has, you know, I'm sure that, you know, people respect your story, your success story, you know, definitely where I'm from, to be able to turn nothing into something that's respected. But at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people with money come through my hood, they'll take it. You know what I mean? So it ain't about how much money you got.
And also, we were talking about, can you dislike a person and have respect for them? Because sometimes if you say, I don't like them, but I respect them. But I feel sometimes when you say I don't like them, it is disrespectful. I don't know if you.
No, I think you cannot like a person and respect what a person, you know, has done or has accomplished. You know what I mean? It's different aspects of that person you may respect. It's different dimensions, you know. So yeah, I work with a lot of people I didn't like, but I didn't disrespect them because I didn't like them. I just didn't like them.
Did you talk about them in the book?
Well, I mentioned that in the book.
Did you mention them by name?
No.
No? Okay.
That may be disrespectful.
But did you ask them or talk with them before you? Did you talk with anyone before you wrote the book, or you just said I'm gonna just release it how it is?
Yeah, I just pretty much, you know, this is my life, this is my story, and you know, I didn't do any lying or anything like that. So, you know, I said a lot. It's a lot of things I could have said that I didn't. So I don't think I offended anyone.
And with Drake, I know you've been asked a lot, like your relationship with Drake, but for the book, he wrote your foreword, and he even did some of your audio book.
Right.
So did you just tell him I'm writing a book and say, do you want to be in it? Or did he say, hey, can I do your foreword? Or
yeah, he definitely was, you know, interested in being a part of the book. You know, he, you know, as you know, the story behind him, my son, you know, discovered him and brought him to the U.S. and it was an honor for him to do the foreword on the book.
That's big though. You have to really be proud of your son because he didn't just, I don't know, take daddy's money and just go do whatever he wanted, go take trips around the world. I mean, he actually, I wouldn't say followed in your footsteps, but took what you've done and learned from that and did his own thing. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. He didn't come home empty-handed. Yeah, I'm proud of him.
What do you think, since we're speaking on his generation, how do you feel about this generation right now in the music? Like, some of my friends were talking and we were saying, is our generation and the generation before us responsible for the content in the lyrics? Like, a lot of them are over-medicated. A lot of them are just talking about feeling good and popping pills, and every video starts off with some weed smoke, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of that existed, you know, back in our era as well, but I'm actually proud of the movement that's going on with them. I think, you know, speaking of content, they're more content conscious where ownership is concerned than I ever have seen before. But yeah, I agree with you. I like to see less pill popping.
Yeah, but I feel that our generation is just too critical of this generation instead of having us be more of a mentor. Yeah. Because we don't have as many mentors for this generation.
Yeah. And no, I agree with you on that. I think we definitely need to extend our hand more versus criticizing from a distance.
Yes. And you do that too in your hometown with straps. Correct?
Yeah.
So you're preventing some unwanted diseases, and maybe unwanted pregnancies.
Right.
What is that? What exactly, for people who don't know?
Well, Strap is a condom company that I started. You know, I watched a friend of mine years ago by the name of Kevin. He was like close to 300 pounds. And I watched him party on the road on a tour, and he came home, you know, HIV infected. And I watched a 300-pound man go down to like 60 or 70 pounds. And, you know, I was moved to start Strap. I'm like, wow, you know, this is, you know, that wasn't a pretty sight.
No, that is not. That's something. Whew. What else? So I read some of the book, and it talked about DEA agents. Like, you really give up some info.
Yeah.
Like a movie.
Yeah.
So do you plan on doing a movie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I have several meetings set up. You know, we're going to do a movie or a nice documentary, some 10 or 15 episodes of something, you know. I hadn't critiqued it the way I plan on doing it, but yeah, that's coming.
Yeah, it needs to be coming.
Yeah.
Because I think that'll be because this book is really like a movie.
Yeah.
Who would you cast?
That's gonna be up to the producers and the professionals on that part of it. Whoever will work is okay with me.
And where can they get your book?
Oh, you can get this book at Barnes and Noble,
Okay.
Amazon, iTunes, and of course I have an audio version you can get on Tidal, iTunes as well, and many other places.
I saw a clip of a young gentleman saying for folks who don't read, the audio book is good for them, and and we were saying in the car, especially in LA, we're like, we can't, we're sitting in there for 2-3 hours in our cars, so it's perfect.
Oh, it'll be perfect. Yeah. You will enjoy the traffic sitting in there listening to the art and science of respect.
So I want to talk about what's been going on lately.
Okay.
So I know you've been getting a little bit of criticism of your stance on what Kanye West said during his meeting with President Donald Trump.
Have I? I hadn't heard about that.
Oh, they didn't tell you?
Tell me about that.
Oh, well, I've been reading about this. I don't know. They've been saying, because you mentioned that you thought that Kanye West was brave for speaking on Larry Hoover.
Also, Larry Hoover is an example of a man that was turning his life around. And as soon as he tried to turn his life around, they hit him with 6 life sentences. So I believe you say don't tear down the statues? Larry Hoover is a living statue. He's a beacon for us that needs to see his family, that needs to go out and represent. When you have a block leader on every single block, they can own the block as their own. That's something I learned from Jim Brown, from A Mayor I Can. We need to put curriculums from people who really came from the streets, not people who are just trying to set us up to go into a work system or prison system that applies to what people are really going through, which Jim Brown has created.
And everyone was like, oh, he's defending Kanye now. Like, he's defending all of this. And I don't think that's what you were saying. I think that you were speaking on one subject. So can you speak on that? Yeah.
I don't know if I use the word brave, but I respected the part that Kanye, when he spoke on, getting some type of clemency and relief for Larry Hoover, because I feel like the justice system is out of control with the sentencing when it comes to drug offenders and the less violent crimes. I believe the time that they give them is outrageous.
Because he's next to the Unabomber.
Yeah, and put him right next to the Unabomber. And the reality of that is we all have, somebody in our families that's victims of these type of crimes and the sentencing that's going on where that's concerned. And I think the sentencing is like, it's a racial thing. You know what I mean? These people come up with these long sentences to take away people's lives, and where it come from? Who are they to sit back and say a man need 4 and 5 and 6 life, sentences for, something so small, and then when people kill one another, the Unabomber and all these other people, is not as bad.
But they just chalk it up as, oh, that person has a mental disorder.
Yeah, well, I think they had a mental disorder, and I think the new generation to come they're gonna do something about that. I think before I leave the earth, that's gonna change.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too.
But I mean, so you don't really agree on the rest of what Kanye spoke about?
Well, I tune a lot of the other out. You know what I mean? When I heard what he said, that's what I left with. You know what I mean? Because I embrace realness. All that other, that may be real to a whole lot of other people. But when he spoke on my brother, Larry Hoover, because I know Larry Hoover, and like I say, I felt like making a move like that would be the beginning of like freeing a whole lot of brothers that's in bondage, you know, in this corrupt system that got all of this crazy time, you know, behind like, you know, drugs. And I'm not saying drugs is, you know, something that's good, but when you know, have a crack rock and you give all this time on crack, and then you have powder and you give this amount of time, when it's clear discrimination going on with the drugs, then okay, we know what that is.
Do you think this meeting was a good or a bad thing?
No, I think it was a beautiful thing, definitely, where, you know, him asking for relief where Hoover was concerned.
Well, who else do you feel should meet to elaborate on more changes that can be made? Like, what do you think in today's world, do you think, in our country specifically, do you believe that this generation is more unified or separated racially?
Well, you know, I hadn't put that on the scale, so I wouldn't be able to just really know the difference. To me, it's...
The awareness is pretty high now. It's out, you know?
Yeah. To me, I think hip-hop has done wonders to all of our cultures. You know what I mean? It has brought us together like never before. Hip-hop, you know, hip-hop, I even believe, was the foundation of Obama becoming the president, you know, our first black president. So, you know, you'd be surprised what hip-hop has done, you know, for us as a whole. So we're in a better place with hip-hop. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming through, taking time. And please go get his book, everybody, The Art and Science of Respect. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah. Please go get the book, everybody. The Art and Science of Respect. You know, this is a good one. You can follow me at J Prince Respect.
And where can they get their book signed? Are you going to be anywhere?
You know, I'm going to be a few places. I'm going to be at Drake concert tomorrow, and the book is on sale at Drake concert as well.
And you're going to be signing?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to come out there and be right there at the booth.
Thank you guys for watching on 66 Raw.